Okay, let's dive in. We're tackling something today that, well, it makes a lot of people nervous, talking on the phone in English.
Oh, absolutely. It's a common anxiety, isn't it?
Yeah.
You lose all those visual cues you rely on in person.
Exactly. No facial expressions, no body language, just the voice. And I mean, let's be honest, even in your first language, a bad connection or someone talking super fast can be stressful.
For sure. So add English as a second language on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pressure definitely ramps up. You might know the words, but using them smoothly, especially when you maybe didn't quite catch something,
Uh-huh.
that's tough.
That's precisely why we're doing this deep dive, digging into the source material we have here. The mission really is to equip you, our listeners, with the actual phrases and, just as importantly, the confidence you need for all sorts of phone situations.
Right. We're going to break down how to start calls, look at essential phrases for different scenarios like, asking for someone, putting someone on hold, and definitely cover how to ask for clarification politely. That's a big one.
Yeah, a huge one. By the end of this, the idea is that you'll feel much more prepared for that next English phone call, knowing you have these specific tools from the source material ready to go.
And these aren't just like abstract grammar points. These are practical, real-world skills, things you can use immediately, whether it's a formal business call, just chatting with a friend, or even just answering the phone when it rings.
Stuff you'll actually use in your life.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. That very first hurdle, kicking off the conversation. How you start really does set the tone, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. The opening is foundational. It immediately signals who you are, maybe where you're calling from, and the level of formality. Getting it right just smooths everything that follows.
And the source material breaks this down nicely based on who you're talking to. Formal versus casual. Let's hit formal first. The business calls, appointments, customer service, the ones that can feel a bit more high stakes.
Right. In those formal settings, the key things are clarity, politeness, and, well, efficiency. You want to make it easy for the person answering to know who you are and what you need quickly. They might need to transfer you or find information so clarity helps them and you.
The source gives some really solid examples. The first one is classic. Hello, this is Michael Johnson. May I speak with Sarah Miller, please?
Okay, let's unpack that. Hello, standard professional greeting, can't go wrong. Then immediately, this is your name. Identifying yourself right away is critical in business.
Why is that so crucial right at the start?
Well, think about who often answers. Maybe a receptionist, an assistant. They're handling lots of calls. They need to know who is calling to figure out what to do next. Are you a client, a job applicant, someone internal? It's essential context for them.
Makes sense. And then the request part. May I speak with person's name, please? What, may I?
May I is extremely polite in English. It frames it as a request for permission, which is standard formal etiquette. It sounds much softer, more professional than, say, I want to talk to Sarah Miller.
Right. Much less demanding. And adding please just reinforces that politeness. It's clear, direct, but respectful.
Exactly. It sets that professional tone instantly. Now, sometimes you need a bit more context. What if you're calling from a company?
Yeah.
Right.
The source has this example. Good morning. This is Olivia Carter from Greenfield Bank. I'm calling regarding your account.
Okay, several things here. Good morning, a time-specific greeting, very standard in professional calls. Then, this is your name from your company name, including from Greenfield Bank, is vital. It tells them your affiliation straight away.
So they immediately know, okay, this is a call from the bank. Gives them context before you even say why you're calling.
Precisely. And then comes that reason. I'm calling regarding. Or you could say I'm calling about. This phrase is super useful. It lets you state your purpose clearly and concisely right after introducing yourself.
I'm calling regarding your account. So boom, they know the topic. Helps them mentally shift gears, maybe pull up information, or know if they need to transfer you.
It's efficient. And efficiency is really valued in business communication. Get to the point politely.
Here's another one focusing on purpose. Hi, this is David Thompson. I'm calling to schedule an appointment with Dr. Williams. Interesting use of hi there. Is that okay for formal calls?
It's becoming more common. Hello is definitely more formal, but hi is often acceptable now in many professional contexts, depending on the industry, maybe a bit warmer perhaps. But the key structure is the same. Identify yourself. This is David Thompson.
And then, again, the specific purpose. I'm calling to schedule an appointment with Dr. Williams. Not just, I need Dr. Williams, but why?
Exactly. Specifying the action to schedule an appointment is incredibly helpful. The person answering knows immediately what task is needed. Maybe they can handle the scheduling directly, or they know exactly who to transfer you to. It avoids ambiguity.
So the pattern seems to be greet politely, identify yourself and company if relevant, and state your purpose or who you need, clearly and upfront.
That's the core formula for a smooth, formal call opening. It manages expectations and just makes the whole process quicker and easier for everyone involved.
But what if you don't have a name? Like, you need customer service, or you want to ask about a job, but you don't know who the hiring manager is.
Very common situation. And the source covers this. You don't always need a specific name. You can aim for a department or a job title instead.
Like this example. Hello, this is Emma Scott. May I speak with someone in the customer service department?
See, same polite structure, may I speak with. But instead of a name, it's someone in the customer service department. Perfectly clear, the receptionist knows exactly where to direct the call. No name needed.
Or this one for a job query. Hi, this is Daniel Parker. I'd like to speak with the hiring manager about a job opening.
Again, hi is used, showing that flexibility. Them, I'd like to speak with. That's another really good polite option similar to may I speak with. It identifies the role of the hiring manager and adds that crucial bit of context about a job opening.
Why add the about a job opening part? Isn't hiring manager enough?
It just helps confirm you've got the right role, and it gives the person answering, or the manager if you get through, a heads up on the topic. It primes the conversation. Maybe they have multiple openings, or maybe they need to grab some specific information. It's just helpful context.
Got it. So even without a name, using a title or department with these polite phrases works just fine.
Absolutely. Now,
Yeah.
Inevitably, sometimes the person you want isn't available. Happens all the time. The source gives us the typical phrases you'll hear in response. Knowing them helps you know what to do next.
Right. The examples are, I'm sorry, Sarah is in a meeting right now. Would you like to leave a message?
Unfortunately, Dr. Williams is out of the office today. Can I take a message for you?
Okay. Notice the I'm sorry or unfortunately. They're not apologizing for doing something wrong, are they?
No. They're polite softeners. Ways to deliver the slightly bad news the person isn't available. It's just standard, polite phrasing in English, often followed by a brief reason like in a meeting, out of the office, on another line.
And then comes the offer. Would you like to leave a message? Or can I take a message for you? Pretty standard stuff.
Very standard. It's the signal that direct conversation isn't possible right now. But here's option B, leave information.
And that's our cue as the caller to be ready. The source subtly points this out. Be prepared to actually leave that message. Know what you need to say.
Exactly. Hearing that phrase should trigger your okay, message time response.
All right, that feels like a good handle on the formal side of starting calls. Now let's flip completely. Casual calls, calling a friend.
Total shift in tone and language, as the source emphasizes. Forget most of that formal structure.
Yeah, it's relaxed, informal, personal. You know the person.
And the examples show it clearly. Hey, Jake, what's up?
Or, hi, Emily, do you have a minute?
Also, hey, Alex, how's it going?
And, hi, Sophie, are you free to talk now?
See the difference? Greetings are casual. Hey is super common, very friendly. Hi is also fine, usually just their first name. You might not even need to say your name if they have caller ID or recognize your voice.
And the opening isn't about stating a business purpose. It's more like checking in.
Exactly. What's up or how's it going are classic informal ways to say, how are you or what are you doing? They just open things up casually.
Or checking if they can actually talk. Do you have a minute? Or
yeah.
Are you free to talk now? Still polite, but way less formal than may I speak with you. It's just a quick check before launching into your news or question.
Yeah, it respects their time without the formal dance. The source highlights these key differences. First names, casual greetings, maybe more contractions naturally popping up, relaxed structure, less information density needed right at the start.
And if your friend doesn't answer, the source mentions voicemails or texts. Example, hey Jake, it's Peter. Give me a call back when you're free.
It's super simple. It's your name and a direct request. Give me a call back when you're free. No fluff, just the essentials. That brevity is typical for casual follow-ups.
Man, the contrast is stark. Same goal, starting a conversation, but completely different language depending on the context.
Context is everything in phone calls.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered making the call. What about receiving it? How should you answer? Again, the source says it depends.
Right. Who do you think might be calling? Is it work? Is it a friend? That determines how you answer. Let's stick with formal, first answering at work.
Okay, for a business, the answer needs to be professional, informative, and helpful right away. The source gives a great template. Hello, thank you for calling Anderson & Co. This is Daniel speaking. How can I help you?
Let's break that sequence down. Hello, standard. Then thank you for calling company name. That's polite and confirms they've reached the right place, Anderson & Co. Instantly reassuring for the caller.
Then identify yourself. This is Daniel speaking, or sometimes just this is Daniel, lets them know who they've connected with. And finally, the offer of assistance. How can I help you? Ready to engage.
It's like a mini information package delivered in seconds. They know where they called, who they're talking to, and that you're ready to assist. Super efficient.
Another solid option from the source. Good afternoon. This is Jennifer from Elite Marketing. How may I assist you today?
Similar pattern. Time-specific greeting, good afternoon. Identify self and company, Jennifer from Elite Marketing. And then, how may I assist you today? Slightly more formal than how can I help you, but achieves the same goal.
Both are excellent professional ways to answer. Packed with info sets a helpful tone.
Now contrast that with answering a friend's call.
Complete opposite. Relaxed, warm, personal.
Examples given are, hey, it's Alex.
Hello. What's up?
Hi, Sophie, how's your day going?
Yeah, much simpler. You might just identify yourself right away. Hey, it's Alex, especially if caller ID isn't certain. Or a simple greeting, hello, hi, followed by a casual question like, what's up? Or how's your day going?
No need for company names or formal offers of help. It's about connection, not service.
Exactly. Simplicity and warmth.
Ugh.
And this is where that practice idea comes in again, something the source keeps circling back to.
Right. Especially for that formal answer. Actually saying it out loud. Imagine you work at, say, Greenfield Bank. Practice. Hello, this is your name from Greenfield Bank. How can I help you?
Saying it aloud, even just to the air, helps tremendously. The source suggests this builds confidence, and it's true. It makes the phrase feel natural, something you can say smoothly, not just something you read. It helps with the flow, the rhythm.
Gets it into your muscle memory almost.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so we've nailed the openings, making calls, receiving calls, formal, casual. Now let's move into the middle of the conversation. Those common phrases you need once the call is actually going.
Right, the core exchange, things that happen routinely during a call.
The source points out several common interactions and the phrases needed. For instance, even after the initial greeting, especially in a business setting, you might need to ask for someone specific if you first got a receptionist.
So the source revisits those asking for someone phrases. May I speak with Jessica Adams, please?
Or, is Mark Roberts available?
And, could I speak to someone in the billing department?
Yeah, same polite options we saw earlier. May I, very polite. Is name available? Direct, standard, and could I speak to? Another polite option. Often used with a department when you don't have a name. Good to have these ready mid-call, too.
And the responses, if they're not available, are the same ones we heard about earlier, too, right?
Exactly. You'll hear things like, I'm sorry Jessica is not available right now. Would you like to leave a message? Or maybe, Mark is out of the office at the moment. Can I take a message? Recognizing these means you know instantly, okay, plan B, leave a message.
Which leads us nicely into being put on hold or transferred. Very common, especially when calling larger organizations.
Definitely. The source covers the language for this from both sides. If someone needs to put you on hold, you'll likely hear, please hold for a moment. Standard, polite.
Or maybe with a bit more explanation, like, can I put you on hold for a moment while I check that for you?
Yeah, adding the while I check that for you part is great. It tells you why you're holding. It feels less like you're just being parked and more like they're actively working on your request. Makes the wait seem more purposeful.
Okay, and what about transfers?
You might hear, let me transfer you to the sales department. Simple, direct statement. They're telling you what's happening next.
Or maybe, I'll connect you with Lisa in customer service.
Connect you with basically means the same as transfer you to, and specifying the department, customer service, is key, so you know where you're heading. If they can name the person, Lisa, even better, prepares you for the next voice you hear.
And what about when they come back after putting you on hold? Any standard phrases there?
Good question. Yes, polite transitions are common. You might hear, thank you for holding. I appreciate your patience.
Ah, that's nice. Acknowledges you waited.
It is. Shows consideration. Or they might say, sorry for the wait. How can I assist you?
A quick apology for the delay, then straight back to helping. Smooths the transition after the silence.
Exactly. These little phrases just make the whole experience feel more professional and less abrupt after a hold.
Okay, so holds and transfers covered.
Yeah.
Now, the flip side of unavailability, when you need to leave that message, what phrases should you use?
The source gives clear options for when you're the one leaving the message. You need to tell the person taking the message what to do.
The most direct seems to be, could you take a message for John?
Yes, that's a clear request for them to perform the action of writing down a message specifically for John.
What if it's simpler? Maybe you just want them to know you called, but don't have a detailed message.
Then you could use, can you tell Emma that I called? It's less about conveying specific information and more about just logging the fact that you've attempted contact. Maybe Emma knows why you're calling and will call back.
Okay, and one more example. This one includes a bit more detail. Please let Daniel know I'll call back later.
This one is great because it gives specific info. 1, you called, let Daniel know I call, is implied. And 2, your plan, I'll call back later. This is helpful because it manages expectations. Daniel doesn't necessarily need to scramble to call you back immediately.
So, you're giving clear instructions, please let Daniel know, and specific content for the message.
Precisely. Knowing these different ways to phrase it helps you choose the best one for the situation and ensures the core information gets passed on clearly. Avoids that awkward, just tell him. Tell him I call moment.
Yeah, having the phrase ready makes you sound much smoother. So asking for people, holds, transfers, leaving messages, feels like we're covering the main mechanics of the call.
Definitely the common interactions. But what about when things go wrong? When you just don't understand? This is a huge source of anxiety, and the source tackles it head-on, asking for clarification.
Oh yeah, this is critical, especially in a second language. Accents, speed, background noise, unfamiliar words. So many reasons you might miss something.
And pretending you understood when you didn't, that can lead to real problems. Knowing how to politely ask for repetition or explanation is, well, it's empowering. It keeps the conversation accurate and reduces your stress.
So the source breaks this down, different phrases for different problems.
Yes. First, the simplest case. You didn't physically hear the words clearly. The sound was muffled, they spoke too fast, whatever.
What's the go-to phrase?
The classic is, sorry, could you repeat that? Sorry. Softens it, makes it polite. Could you repeat that? Is the standard direct request. Everyone understands this.
Okay. Any other options?
Yeah, another very common one is, I didn't catch that. Could you say it again?
I didn't catch that. That's an idiom, right? Meaning you didn't hear or understand.
Exactly. Very natural way to say you missed it. And could you say it again? Does the same job as, could you repeat that?
Yeah.
Both are perfectly polite ways to ask for repetition when you didn't hear properly.
Got it. So that's for hearing. What if you heard the words fine, but the meaning is fuzzy, like jargon or a complex idea?
Different problem needs a different kind of request. You're not asking for repetition, you're asking for explanation.
So what does the source suggest here?
One option is, could you clarify what you mean? Clarify is the key word, make clearer. You're saying, I heard you, but I need you to explain the idea more simply or in different words.
Makes sense. What else?
Another good one is, I'm not sure I understand. Can you explain it another way?
That seems very direct. Is it okay to just say, I'm not sure I understand?
Absolutely. It's honest and clear. And following with, can you explain it another way, tells them how they can help you by rephrasing, using different vocabulary, breaking it down perhaps. It signals that the first explanation didn't quite click for you.
These seem super useful for avoiding misunderstandings, especially with important or technical details.
Definitely. And there's one more category the source mentions, specific phone problems, technical issues.
Ugh, the bad connection. Static, dropouts, the worst.
Right. So you need phrases that point to the technology being the problem, not necessarily your hearing or understanding.
Yeah.
Like, I think we have a bad connection. Can you say that again?
So you name the problem first, bad connection. That tells them why you need the repeat.
Exactly. It signals it might not be their fault or your fault, just the phone line. Then you ask for the repetition.
What about when the sound keeps breaking up?
There's a very specific phrase for that. You're cutting out. Could you repeat that?
Cutting out. That's the phrase for when the voice disappears intermittently.
Yes, that's the standard term. Again, you identify the technical issue first. You're cutting out. Then ask them to repeat the part you missed because of it. It helps them understand why you're asking them to say it again.
Wow. Having these clarification phrases for hearing, understanding, and technical issues feels like a complete toolkit for handling communication breakdowns.
It really is. It gives you the power to manage the conversation and ensure you get the information you need, even when it gets tricky. It reduces that feeling of panic when you miss something.
And practice comes up again here, doesn't it?
And
The source suggests practicing for specific scenarios.
yeah, like practicing asking someone to speak more slowly if that's a common issue for you.
So, saying aloud, sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say it again more slowly?
Exactly. Adding that more slowly is crucial if speed is the problem. It gives them direct, actionable feedback. And practicing it makes it easier to say calmly and clearly in the moment instead of just getting flustered.
The big takeaway seems to be that these phrases help you stay calm, stay professional, and keep the communication flowing accurately, even when there are bumps in the road.
Absolutely. You're not just stuck. You have strategies. You can politely say, hey, I need a bit of help here without derailing the conversation.
Okay, this has been incredibly detailed. We've really unpacked the whole process based on the source material.
We really have. From starting those formal calls, remembering to identify yourself, your company, your purpose, to the much more relaxed way you'd start a casual call.
Then answering a phone the professional, informative way for business versus the warm, simple way for friends.
We covered those mid-call essentials. Asking for the right person, handling being put on hold or transferred smoothly, and knowing exactly how to ask someone to take a message for you or how to phrase the message itself.
And maybe most importantly, we dug into asking for clarification, phrases for when you didn't hear, when you didn't understand, or when the line itself is causing problems. Having those specific tools drawn from the source makes a huge difference.
It moves it from feeling like an overwhelming, unpredictable challenge to something you can manage with the right language. The confidence comes from knowing what to say.
And speaking of confidence, the source wraps up with a practical challenge to help build it, a way to actually use all this.
Right, a clear three-step plan. Step one is just general practice. Consciously try to use these phrases in your next phone calls, or even in practice scenarios.
Step 2 gets more specific. Choose one of the scenarios the source suggests: calling a hotel to book a room, calling a restaurant to order takeout, or maybe calling a company about a job.
Why those specific scenarios?
Well, they're realistic, common situations that naturally require a lot of these phrases. You'll need to introduce yourself, state your purpose, ask questions, maybe clarify details, confirm information. It forces you to use the language in context, much better than just reciting lists.
Makes sense. And step three.
Record yourself doing it. Speak the conversation for your chosen scenario, trying to sound natural and confident, then listen back.
The recording step. Always feels a bit cringy, but it's so effective, isn't it?
It really is. You hear yourself as others hear you. You catch the hesitations, the awkward phrasing, the pronunciation issues. It's like instant feedback. Shows you exactly what needs work.
And the source also adds a reflection piece to this challenge, encouraging you to think, what's personally the hardest part for you about English phone calls? Listening comprehension, speaking under pressure, finding the right words.
And also, which specific phrase or technique we talked about today felt most immediately useful or relevant to your particular struggles?
That self-reflection is key, isn't it? It helps you focus your practice where it'll make the biggest difference for you.
Definitely. And the source hints that the journey doesn't end here. Mastering these phrases is a huge step, but the next level might be about sounding more natural and fluent overall in conversation. A topic for another time, perhaps.
A logical progression. But for tackling phone calls specifically, this deep dive gives you a really solid toolkit.
The main message really seems to be, practice is vital. Use these phrases. Start with low-pressure calls if you need to. Build that confidence step by step.
Don't wait until the crucial job interview call to try these out for the first time. Integrate them, practice them. It works.
It really does. Knowing what to say takes away so much of the fear.
So to wrap up, let's leave you with a final thought, building on this whole challenge of communicating without seeing the other person. We've seen how having very specific verbal tools, these precise phrases for greetings, requests, clarifications, can bridge that gap left by the lack of visual cues. It makes the invisible conversation manageable.
So the question to ponder is, if this focused approach, mastering specific language for specific communication challenges, works so well for phone calls, how might it apply elsewhere? Think about other areas where English communication feels difficult for you, maybe writing emails, participating in meetings, understanding fast native speakers in person.
Could identifying and really mastering the key targeted phrases for those specific situations also change how you perceive the difficulty? Could other communication barriers be broken down not just by general study, but by finding and practicing the exact linguistic tools needed for that specific task? How powerful is having precisely the right words?